Joseph Davis was the older brother of Jefferson Davis, and Jefferson Davis, we all know from our history books in middle school, was the president of the Confederacy. Joe Davis was an interesting man. He was a lawyer, a prominent lawyer in Mississippi, a substantial landowner outside of Vicksburg, Mississippi, of a beautiful plantation on land actually that no longer exists. The Mississippi River ate it up. I was down researching a number of years ago, trying to actually go visit the land, and it's just not there anymore. It's underwater. The Mississippi is such a dynamic river in that respect. So Joseph Davis had this land. He sold part of it to his younger brother, Jeff, who also built a home on the land, and then both of them farmed it or had enslaved people farm it. Joseph Davis wasn't there that much, nor was Jeff. They were both very involved in public life and politics before the war, but they had very interesting experiments that they've implemented, mostly inspired by Joseph Davis, of self-governance, that the enslaved people governed themselves. They ran the plantations. There were very few white people there. They actually had their own court system, which I found really interesting as a lawyer. And there are a few records from that early court, those early court hearings on Saturdays. 3 enslaved people would sit, black people would sit in judgment of other black people on the plantation. Say somebody might steal something, or there would be a fight that might break out. There was even one domestic violence case that I saw where a woman came to court to complain about her husband beating her. Mm-hmm. And they would sit in judgment and issue verdicts for these cases. And so there was a lot of very interesting kind of innovative stuff going on in the Davis plantations that you didn't see in many other plantations. That ethos of self-governance persisted after the Davis family was chased out of Davis Bend when General Grant took Vicksburg in 1863, in July of 1863. In fact, July 4th was the day that Grant arrived, and when I've been in Vicksburg doing research, nobody there celebrates Independence Day. They all think of it as the day that the Federals arrived and ruined everything. So the Davises and the other white folks in the community were chased out when Grant arrived, coming down the Mississippi River in an enormous boat. And again, like the military officials in the Sea Islands, they encountered a huge number of enslaved people who were granted immediate freedom just by virtue of the military troops occupying, Northern military occupying that space. And the Grant and the other administrators of that area implemented a similar kind of experiment in black freedom that we saw in the Sea Islands, where black people were charged with their own, stewarding their own lives, of keeping the plantations going, but being paid, or at least the promise of being paid by the federal government for the crops that they raised, and it was largely cotton there.